Hello to my 13 subscribers. Welcome back to my channel. Mm, that is so good. Happy PSL season. It's hot, but I still wanted one, so I got it iced. Anyway, I have my notes. This is my literal sixth take of trying to do this video, so it should be pretty organized. As you can see by the title, I'm obsessed with this specific episode of The Con. It's the very first episode of the series. But it's going to be a series, The Con, on ABC. Is a series hosted by Whoopi Goldberg, and it's like a docu-series about true crime, about people who've defrauded other people. Okay? That's basically it. And I feel like it's interesting because we've all been conned before, right? We've all been lied to. We've all been taken for a fool. Everybody plays the fool. And I literally said that I wasn't going to sing anymore. Moving on. So I let me share my experience. I was conned over the summer because I was trying to be cheap buying books for school, and I went to this website that was for ebooks. Never got anything, and then they started using my credit card information because I'm stupid, and I had to cancel my card and get a whole new debit card, etc., etc. Moving right along, but like this case on this show, like I was just screaming. I was like, why? Why would he do that? Why would he do that? What is the point of doing that? Like everything he did. I was like, why? Why is he doing that? Why is he doing this? It's incredible. Like I just don't understand why this man did all this stuff. Anyway, so the person who got conned was the very beautiful Benita Alexander. And I don't want to sound like really bad when I say this, but she's like really beautiful woman, who's like in her like at the time I think she was in her mid to late 30s, and now I think she's like in her mid 40s, I think. This is her in the beautiful gowns. He had her listen. Listen. So she's a beautiful. I'm not going to show a picture of Dr. Paolo Macchiarini. He's the effing con artist here. I'm not going to show him. I'm not going to show him because he's a jerk. He doesn't deserve to be shown anyway. He's not deserving of our effort, our attention, none of that. I'm like, just don't pay attention to me squirming. But he's a jerk. I just don't understand him. And I'm going to get to the end of this video and I'm going to be like Dr. Grande. I'm not diagnosing anyone. I'm just speculating what could be going on in the situation. My speculation is he's a sociopath, but we'll get there. Let's just start. Let's just start with he was married. And she met him because she's a TV producer and she was going to make like a little docu situation on him, like a little, prime time 60 minutes type deal describing him and his like experimental, like earth changing, like field changing experimental surgeries where he was using stem cells to regrow people's trachea who had trachea issues. And they needed like a trachea transplant, and that's really hard to get. So he was like this incredible, experimental surgeon. But like he was a real surgeon, and this is what gets me. He was a real surgeon, a real doctor when they met. And he was already married, but he pursued her, okay? Like, there's so many things. So he pursued her. She swept off her feet because everyone says that he basically, they're like, oh my gosh, he looks like George Clooney. He's salt and pepper, so handsome. He's like he does favor him a little bit. He's like a fat George Clooney. He literally is. He's like a fat George Clooney. Let me just throw it out there. I'm fat. I know fat when I see it, okay? He's a fat George Clooney. Let's not build him up too much. And there's nothing wrong with being fat. We're not going to talk about that anyway. But he did all this stuff that was just, he was already a surgeon. He was already married. If he wanted to have an affair, that's one thing. If he lied about being married, that's one thing. But he went so far. He took her on trips all over the world. He bought her diamonds. He was with her so long so long. It was like over a year, almost 2 years or something like that. To the point where he met her daughter. They went on vacations with the daughter. He made promises to the daughter, like, I'm going to be a great stepdad. Her ex-husband died. The father of her daughter died. And he's like making all these promises to, oh, I'm going to be a great stepdad, la, la, la. Why? Why do that? Why do it? Like, what is the point? And like my notes say they traveled all over the world. So they get to the point where he's meeting the daughter. They're so enamored with each other. It was their first Christmas that they spend together. And he proposes. This is what I was saying while I was watching it. I was like, why? Because if you are married and you want to have a side chick, or if you're married and you want to have a girlfriend in America and your wife back in Italy, then like, I'm not saying do that, but like, that makes sense. I understand why you would do that. Like, I understand why those people con me over the summer. When someone cons you out of money, it's because they need money. They need money to live, to buy things they want, to start a maybe legitimate business, hopefully. They need money. And my mom always says, if someone steals something from you, they need it more than you. That's what well, not always, not every situation, but like something like if they stole your pencil, if they stole your book, something like that. And I feel like money is a necessity. If someone steals your money, a lot of times they need it. And I know that sounds bad, or they're just greedy like Jeff Bezos, but that's not what we're talking about. Um, but he was like a liar for no reason. Like, he was a habitual liar. That's why I'm saying he might be a sociopath. He was someone who just made up outrageous lies. So he's like, it's not enough for me to just be a surgeon. I'm like a boutique surgeon. I'm like the doctor to the stars. He said he was the doctor for the Obamas. He said he was the doctor to Pope Francis. He said he was I'm reading out my notes now. He said he was the doctor to the Clintons. He said he knew the Beckhams. Like, girl, I mean, why did he propose to her? Why? And that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't get, he never gains anything out of this whole situation. What does he gain? It's like, Snoop Dogg, you're so out of pocket. What do you gain? What do you gain from that? So he doesn't gain anything. So he proposes to her, and it's not just, and you're like, okay, he proposed to her, he was a con, and they broke off their engagement. No, sis. He doesn't stop there because he doesn't make sense. So he proposes. Not only are they just going to get married, they're not just going to get married in New York. They're going to get married in Barcelona, and the Pope is going to come marry them. And the Pope is going to come marry them. And the Beckhams, the Clintons, the Obamas are invited. All of his celebrity guests that he allegedly knows, the Beckhams are invited. He has her, and this is why I have some of these pictures. He has her saying, like, you need a ball gown for 4 different days because this is going to be a 4-day event. So she has the wedding dress, in which she looks stunning, and she has the blue dress in which she looks stunning. She had a tearaway dress. I'm gonna let you watch that on the show. If they have a rerun, look it up, go watch the rerun. There's a tearaway dress where it's like a big tulle skirt that tears off, and it's in a little sexy mini dress. He was doing the most, and she bought all this stuff, and he said, and he's like bankrolling a lot of it, and that's the next thing. It doesn't financially make sense. He's a sociopath. He can't live normal like you and I. And this is what I was saying when I was watching it in the early parts of the video. I mean, the early parts of the episode. I was like, if he was just the person who wanted to go on nice vacations and date a beautiful woman in New York, he could have just done that. He could have easily gotten a divorce. A lot of people get divorced in the 21st century. It's not that big of a hurdle. Like, please, come on. So he could have easily got divorced. He could have easily married her. They could have had a legitimate, beautiful, equal life where she was a successful woman in New York. New York is expensive AF. So if she was successful in New York, she had money, okay? She had money. She had a life. He could have literally just globbed onto her successful life, especially after when we get to some of these parts where they start calling his career into question. He's going to wish that he had that rich baby mama, okay? He's going to wish that he had actually married her and had the security of living in her brownstone with her, okay? Because now, where are you now? Where are you now? Oh, and He had this thing where they were going to get married in a castle. He sent people those wedding invitations where you open it up. It's like a little box and it's wrapped in lambskin. And it's like, even if she paid for part of it, he paid for a lot of this stuff. That's why she's not suing him for any money back. I'm gonna look it up, but I'm pretty sure they never say she wants any money. She's just like, I just want to expose him. I just want to hashtag exposed. Okay. I just want to expose him because he's such a liar. I think he's a sociopath. I'm just speculating. I think he's a sociopath. So they get to the wedding and someone tells her, Pope Francis ain't even going to be in town, girl. So how is Pope Francis going to marry you? Et cetera, et cetera. They call it all off. And then all these people have non-refundable tickets. So she uses her plane tickets and she goes to Barcelona. She goes to the house that they're going to stay at. And she goes to the house where he's staying and she sees him and he is with some woman and two little kids. Two little kids, sis. I can't. So, and she's like, I know his wife. His wife lives in Italy. That's not the wife from Italy. This woman is a different side woman with a whole side family in Barcelona. I was like, girl, this is why I say I speculate he's a sociopath. But I'm not to that section of this video yet. Hold on. So he has a secret family in Barcelona. Check, check, check. On top of the wife in Italy. Check, check. Several patients died. So he's a real surgeon. And this is what got me. You really did that, girl. You really graduated medical school. Good for you. You really did that. You really are on the cutting edge of your field. Even if, he wanted to just be a regular doctor. You're a doctor. Girls die to marry a doctor. Women die to be with a doctor. That cliche from The Nanny, it's still true, sis. People want to be with a doctor. He could have just been a normal, successful person. Do you see why he has mental illness? Do you see why I'm saying that? Okay, so on top of, he can't just be a regular doctor. So he has to be a cutting edge doctor and experiment with the regrowing the trachea with stem cells. Several of the patients that he gave the trachea to died. Just died. And they charged him. They did an investigation and they found him guilty of scientific misconduct. Do you see? Look at my notes. Why? Scientific misconduct. That means that he was just like, he wasn't going through the scientific method correctly. He was fudging his notes, lying and fabricating things so he could put experimental things into people. Including one of his patients was a little girl. And he was like so confident in his lies that he was telling that he would take the life or risk the life of a little girl. The girl was like 3 or 4. She was a little girl. When you watch it, she's a little Asian girl. It's so sad. And he was on TV giving interviews. I'm screaming. He was on TV giving interviews about his cutting edge surgeries that he faked backing for. He faked scientific backing and scientific process for. Oh my gosh. Okay? He's not normal. He's not like you and I. And so this whole thing, but in his career, listen, he could have just been satisfied with being a doctor. Ego can push you to lie to push your career forward. Okay, that's fine. So his career almost makes sense. What he did to Bonita doesn't make any GD sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you lie about getting engaged? Why would you ask someone to marry? He asked her. She wasn't like, I'm asking and hinting at him, please marry me. They've only been together for a little while. Her ex-husband just died a year ago. She wasn't begging to get married. She's just like, I just want to enjoy my life and be in love and just live and bond with you. And he's like, let's get married. And she's like, okay. And why? So, a sociopath, and this is, I'm going to repeat my disclaimer like Dr. Grande, if you've ever seen him on YouTube. He says, just keep in mind, I'm not diagnosing anyone in this video. I'm just speculating as to what could be happening. So it's a antisocial personality disorder, sometimes called sociopathy, sociopathy, sociopathy. Anyway, it's a mental disorder in which a person consistently shows no regard for right and wrong and ignores the rights and feelings of others. People with antisocial personality disorder tend to antagonize, manipulate, or treat others with callous indifference. They show no guilt or remorse. Okay. Here's the big things that are like red flag, red flag. Okay. Disregard for right and wrong. Clearly, he's big and loud with his lies. He's big and loud. He's not like some people lie and just try to like shove it aside and they don't want to deal with that lie situation anymore and they just move on with their life, even though they have this big lie in their past. No, he was big and loud. He says disregard for right and wrong, persistent lying or deceit to exploit others, being callous, cynical, and disrespectful. We don't know about that. That's not him. Because, like, when you're a sociopath, you don't have to have all the symptoms. That's not him. He wasn't callous and cynical. Well, he was kind of callous. But he was using charm or wit to manipulate others for personal gain or personal pleasure. Just pleasure. Because it just was fun for him to be like, oh, we're going to get married in a fairy tale castle, and the Pope is going to be there, and the Beckhams and the Obamas and the Clintons are going to be there. It was just pleasurable. It was just fun. It's just a fun little time. It was just a fun time. Like, you know, you charm or wit to manipulate others. Recurring problems with the law, including criminal behavior, which he did get convicted of scientific misconduct, repeatedly violating the rights of others through intimidation and dishonesty. Through dishonesty, he's violating the rights of the families and the patients that he lied and did surgeries on. Okay? Impulsiveness, failure to plan ahead. He didn't think, what's going to happen when everybody shows up for my wedding that was a lie? He doesn't care. Hostility, significant irritability, no. Lack of empathy, lack of remorse. He never like reaches out and says, oh, I'm so sorry. He said, wow. She texted him like, everything you said was a lie. And he says, wow, exclamation point. He doesn't say anything else. Unnecessary risk-taking. Unnecessary risk-taking. Poor or abusive relationships. Failure to consider the negative consequences of behavior or learn from them. Being consistently irresponsible. like not doing proper research in your science. Adults with antisocial personality disorder typically show symptoms, Signs and symptoms include aggression towards people and animals. Oh, this is before the age of 15. When to see a doctor? He needs to see a doctor. Get help. Get help, Dr. Paolo. Get help. See someone. Talk to someone. You have a problem. If it's not sociopathy, you have another problem. You have something going on. I can say that with a level of certainty. Okay, I'm no doctor, but I'm certain there's something wrong with you. Okay? That's all.